Thank you for coming. My name is Richard Bear. I know the supervisors probably know me, hopefully know me, but some others may not. I want to thank you for coming. Let me tell you, I have been thinking at 6 months, it would be, when I was here 6 months as a district manager, appropriate to bring forward an overview of all the things that we're doing. A lot of times I'll say to Brittany Wilson, Sam Wardenby, Chief Kane, it doesn't feel like we're doing a lot of things. Are we getting it all done? And we refer back to the plan and they say, we're getting it done. We're doing a lot of things. The struggle is how to share it not with 5 or 7 county administrators or county commission or city council members or town council members, but over 100 board directors, committee members, and board supervisors. So that's the kind of the tough part of this job, and the enjoyable part of this job too. So let me tell you, the first 6 months, looking back, I have to tell you that this is the dream place, the dream job with the dream team. So you should feel very comfortable. I really have enjoyed it, and I think my staff has too. And they feel compelled to say yes, but I won't even look over there. They can make their own face. So, but hopefully they've enjoyed it, and hopefully you have as well. Just a few things. I want to thank my staff for the hard work they've done, for taking on the initiatives, and for working on this presentation, and being really, truly a part of the change that we're going through. So just kind of a little refresher for some, many have seen this. We are a large municipal corporation, all in just under $350 million. You're going to see that we're growing, as you read in the Daily Sun and in other news media, 18,000 acres. Right now we're 70 square miles. We're the 17th largest, if you will, municipality when you think of all in our district government. And we're bigger than roughly half of the counties in the state of Florida. So it's a big place. It's really no longer the sort of quiet hometown. It's still quiet though at night. But hometown, sleepy, we can manage with Excel spreadsheets sort of a village. It is a large, complex organization that has a lot of issues that we are facing. So when we look at some of these pressures, what are they? And we're going to talk a little bit about these pressures and what we're doing to address these pressures. First of all, growth and management. We're growing, and we're growing with leaps and bounds. With that, as with anything, there is necessary planning and systems that we'll talk about, and a need to re-examine the way that we do things. Now, I'm not one that is for just looking at change and making changes to say, well, look what we did. Chief Kane and I made this big change, and it really doesn't accomplish anything. But I am for looking at processes and systems, and hopefully you support me in that result in efficiencies and result in better management of our resources. As a $2 billion with a big dollar corporation with assets, $2 billion, we have to make sure that our systems meet that expectation. When I speak, I've done 17 speaking engagements in the last 4 months. And those speaking engagements, what I constantly hear is, I love where I live. I moved here for a reason, and that reason was the way it looks, all of the activity. And I moved here because there's a sense of, when you come to the villages, there's a sense of place, and I want that to continue. So what our challenge is to make sure that we can continue that, and make sure we continue it in a very efficient manner. Resources. You'll see as we talk about today, and also during this coming month, as Mark LaRock, the purchasing manager, brings forward the changes in procurement, you will see many changes in contracts. A lot of that is due to the resource limitations that we have. What do I mean by that? About 75% of our work is accomplished by contractors and consultants. We compete with not only every jurisdiction, but also, in a sense, we compete with the developer for resources. It's very important that we have appropriate contracts in place that we can procure those resources to deliver those services that the people moved here to enjoy. So you're going to see a lot of changes in our procurement methods. You've already seen some changes, the board supervisors and SCEP members, changes in our procurement methodologies within our contracts. We pointed that out to you. It's very, very important as we have resource limitations, and we're talking beyond staff itself, but with the contractors and the consultants, that we continue to make sure that we can deliver on those expectations. That's a pressure we need to address. Financial stability. So we had our first joint PWAC-AAC meeting. I think it was really good for a number of reasons. But first and foremost was the realization and hearing from each of those PWAC, the Project-Wide Advisory Committee, and the Amenity Authority Committee, the AAC, that each person actually was really stalwart in, I want to make sure that we have the sufficient revenues while keeping in mind to the expenditures and how efficiently they're being done. But we have appropriate revenues to maintain all of these recreational amenities. Extremely important. Financial stability in all aspects is just so important. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Resident connectivity. Whether we're staff on the square, as we were last night, where's Sam? There's Sam. So Sam and Rich Fioretti were out on the square last night. They were enjoying their time interacting with residents. I came by to see them. And whether we're on the square, we're at Resident Academy, we're doing CDD orientation, speaking engagements, I'm at someone's house on an environmental book club, as it was last Monday for 4 hours, going through environmental initiatives. All of those things are extremely important. E-notification, the emails, incident reporting, the asset management we'll talk about, resident connectivity, making sure that people understand how they can connect with their government. So we are really pushing all of these sorts of ways that we can connect. Last year, I discontinued after a lot of research, a lot of discussion, and really a lot of struggle internal, Welcome Wednesday. It just was something that was so successful and outgrown its initial mission. So we need to keep searching for how we can engage our residents as our population demographics change. Change itself. Each of you, each of us, and as a team, the district government has a certain capacity for change. There can, right, Brittany? There can only, and she reminds me of this. She's like, no more until next month. So we have to make sure that we are not outstripping the capacity of our organization, our contractors, and our district boards and committees. So this is the reorganization. Just, you've seen this. I know you can't view this. This underscore does not need PowerPoint guidelines. Okay. So, major reorganization here with the appointment of Kenny Blocker, who was the finance director, as the assistant district manager. Really grouping together all of those budget, finance, risk management, procurement, and special projects relating thereto all together. Cross-training. A number of people doing different but yet similar things. Making sure that there is appropriate cross-training. We'll touch on that as well as Ms. Duncan. Over here, already seeing a lot of the fruits of our labor. This is the Carrie Duckett, Candy Dennis, Community Standards, Customer Service. Many people said, why are we marrying them together? Hopefully in the last 9 months, people have seen the fruits of the labor and marrying together these individual transactions, as I call them, with community standards, with customer service and the cross-training, and the additional measures of reformatting the agenda. It sounds so simple, but grouping those like things together and taking those applications, hundreds of applications every Wednesday. This past Wednesday, 105, I believe. Making sure, I mean, these are volunteers that are there for 3-4 hours that used to be there routinely for 5-6 hours. Making sure that we're using technology. It was so frustrating for me to look at a board, a committee board, that was having to look down individually at laptops, and no one was on the same page. Are you looking at the red mark here on page 47, 2 feet from the side? Oh no, you're over here on page 4. Now we're utilizing our technology. Taking those things that have already gone through a petition process and making sure that we don't have our residents who are trying to reinvest in their biggest, for most people, investment, their house, trying to improve it, have to go through another approval process with the ARC when the villa unit has already gone through a petition process, and the color palette and other things have already been preordained, if you will. Making sure that when someone is out on vacation, that we don't have to be paying overtime for someone as they fill in from this counter to this counter to this counter, all within a 15-foot radius. These are things that a dynamic and nimble government should be expected to do every day, cross-track. And then I would say, maybe not most importantly, but really what is going to be our biggest endeavor is under Brittany Wilson with the clerk's office and also with IT, bringing forward 2 major projects. BSNA, the second phase, which will be discussed by Brittany in a lot of detail, of our financial platform, gaining tremendous efficiencies, removing human error with a number of repetitive actions that we now have to do, and bringing our financial system really leaps and bounds to current and looking to the future. And my personal favorite, asset management, where we have our resources, and we'll be able to look at this center and a similar floor plate and be able to manage it on a system basis comparative level. Using Geographic Information System, GIS system information, we'll be able to put together the Barber case budgets, making sure that we have efficiency and really not just a surface level review, which is really right now pretty much what we can do given the Excel spreadsheets we're using. So extremely, extremely important. So with our district government reorganization, it's not a mistake in 2018. For some it seems like many years ago. Looking back when I did this in July, these were the things that I said to you that we were going to start out on a road to accomplish. Enhanced communication, transparency, enhanced customer service, and systems and analytical decision making. Building on the positives of the past, looking for the necessity of the future and planning for that. So I was thinking about how we capture, we've got our core values that we've all embraced. And if you haven't embraced those, then you're really in sort of the wrong dream team, because this is where we are with hospitality, stewardship, hard work, innovation, and creativity. Behind the scenes, what you don't see what we're doing is we're actually, as a senior management team, starting to roll out the process of defining exactly what we do. Now, we know that the chief here, Chief Kane, he runs a fire department, but there are many specific things that are measured. Well, what are those things we're looking for as to improvements in the coming year? Whether it be accreditation that he'll touch on, whether it be enhanced fire service and response times that he'll touch on, the fleet maintenance portion of his VPSD and the efficiencies there, what Mr. Blocker will touch on. So, making sure that we have appropriate goals set and measuring how and if we accomplish them, and then coming around and saying, how do we improve upon what we do? Extremely important. And if we're having issues, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, how do we reflect that in our strategic plan, which we're working on? So the initiatives of that we talked about on the bottom, that we're going to highlight a little bit in just a second. We also have been moving forward with the master plan for communication. And Mrs. Duckett and I and a team of senior staff members have been working on that. Again, how do we engage our residents? Strategic plan I mentioned, procurement. This month you're going to see a lot of changes in our procurement process. and employee onboarding. How do we make sure that we not only have succession planning for our emerging group of leaders, how do we make sure that we as senior leaders are keeping abreast of all those current technologies, current management and leadership sort of ideas within the industry? How do we make sure that we're planning for tomorrow? So with that, I think, oh no, a couple more for me. You get to hear me for a few more minutes. I'll push myself, I'm shy. Transparency. So what did we do? You know, transparency. What have we done with transparency? Well, for your 1,250, roughly, full-time and part-time staff, we've held momentum staff meetings. Momentum, basically building on the positive of the past, moving into the future, and enhancing what we're doing. All hands on deck, hearing what is happening from an operational, strategic management, capital project standpoint, interacting with the employees, very important. Board of Supervisors photos on the webpage. And that's not just so that you have a series of groupies following you around. That's actually to make sure that the people that elect you can recognize you. I mean, do I want people to walk into a meeting and say, "Are you Don Deacon?" And I said, "That's that good-looking guy right there." You know. So I actually think it's extremely important for each of the people in your respective areas of constituency to make sure that you understand what that connection is and they understand who you are that represent them in those areas. Reformatting the consent agenda. Very important. We have pulled off from a mass approval process in the consent agenda and are now individually reviewing items. What does that do? That helps your residents that may be at the meeting, your media that are covering the meeting, and staff individually give an overview and an opportunity for clarity on each item. Very important. District manager staff updates. I'm trying to make sure, and I know the clerk is aware of it, they are pushing out information to you on a regular basis. It may not always be information that pertains to District 10 or District 8 or District 2. But there are some things that you need to be aware of that you may not even have purview over. Some things that you'll be asked that as a supervisor, you need to have some awareness. So hopefully you've seen an enhanced and increased amount of email traffic in an attempt to keep you abreast of these things. Also at the staff level, at the meetings, we're trying to have senior staff, myself, provide updates to you on topical issues at your meeting, making sure that you understand when we make major changes to Resident Academy. The updates on the FEMA reimbursement, which we're still waiting. A number of really important issues trying to keep you as supervisors, all 100 plus of you, up to speed. I mentioned the PWAC and AAC first joint meeting. I think it was very, very good. There also was the separate AAC workshop, and there was the PWAC evening meeting, Q&A. Very good opportunities for transparency, enhanced customer service with our residents. Individual supervisor staff meetings. If you don't think these take a lot of our time, but are well worth it, you need to really think it. We are trying to meet on major issues with the board or the committee. Before we had the PWAC AAC meeting, we met individually with each member to make sure that they understood all those histograms, that they understood the issue of the revenue and expenditure and the relationship with either RAD or SLAD. Very, very important. Resident Academy reformat. Trying to make sure that after all of those meetings we heard, 700 people on a wait list. 700 new residents on a wait list trying to get in to understand their government. Now, as I explained last month, we're at 0. We have a self-select registration system. We don't have staff and customer service chasing people down because they're busy. Let's face it, our residents move here for activities. They're busy. They can register when they know they're available. They can get in and they can access those services and understand their government. Workshops. Putting together workshops on topical issues, which when we look at our incident reporting are really critical. that are commonly asked questions from our residents. Making sure that they understand, I actually don't understand how these ponds operate. I'd like to understand it better. Posting that information on our website, putting the PowerPoint up there, recording those sessions. Extremely important. And what you're going to hear about today, new financial reporting, insofar as from our finance director. Making sure that the 20-some pages you get are reduced down into a readable, understandable format for you and your resident constituents. And now, Mrs. Duckett.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Carrie Duckett. I'm the Director of Resident Services and Communication for the district. And I'm going to go over some of the customer service initiatives that we are moving forward with and we have been planning for the past couple months. As Mr. Bayer stated, with the increasing number of residents, the increasing area that we are serving here in the community, it is very important that we look at the way we are providing customer service. And one of the most exciting changes that I would like to give you information on is with our new customer service satellite office that will be opening up this summer, approximately in June. We are utilizing a very enhanced cross-training process to make sure that when residents visit our office at Lake Sumter Landing, or maybe they live down in the New Fenney area and would like to visit this new satellite office, that they can receive the same types of services that they can receive in visiting our main office at Lake Sumter Landing. So with only 3 staff members at this new satellite office, we will be providing all of the customer service related services. So for example, replacing IDs, gate cards. If we have residents that need to turn in an application for the Architectural Review Committee, we will have a representative from the finance department that will be able to help residents with their monthly utility bill, or maybe they have questions about their bond. So we are really enhancing the training that we have at customer service in all of the departments to make sure that we can provide that enhanced customer service regardless of the location that residents choose to go. Another way that we are enhancing our customer service is through our weekly bulletin. As Mr. Bayer stated, we canceled the Welcome Wednesday portion of that because we just didn't have the residents coming to obtain the information because they could obtain it all online. So rather than saving some of that information to provide in person, we are making sure that that weekly bulletin has all of the information that we need to provide to residents on a weekly basis. And if you haven't signed up to receive that weekly bulletin through e-notification or helped pass that information on, that is a great opportunity for you to help us make sure that residents are aware of the publication and that they are signed up to receive it every week through e-notification. We also don't just want to enhance the customer service that we provide to residents, but we also want to enhance the customer service that we are providing to you, to our elected officials and our committee members, through the board policies and procedures that you were working on through with Mrs. Wilton. We want to help you provide optimal customer service to all of your residents as well. So you've been working through that with Ms. Wilson, and I believe you're going to continue working through that over the next set of meetings on your board policies and procedures, how we can help you provide customer service to your residents, and making sure that we are providing customer service to you as well. And then finally, we've been providing a lot of updates to you recently on the Architectural Review Committee, and Mr. Bayer gave you a quick overview as well. Again, we want to make sure that the Architectural Review Committee, who works with approximately 100 residents every single week, that we are helping them to provide customer service, and that we are providing all of the information that they need to help residents improve the property that they have invested in. So we have enhanced our application. We have increased the amount of information on our website to help residents walk through that application process, making sure that they understand what they need to submit. And we've increased the training in the Community Standards Department to make sure that they are comfortable sitting down with residents and gathering all of that information that the committee needs. So we are working very hard with all of you and all of the committee members and residents on increasing the amount of customer service that we provide residents. And again, a new and exciting one is going to be with our satellite office approximately in June. I did not say where it is going to be. We are going to be sharing a location with Station 47 The fire station that is going to be located off of Morris Boulevard, just south of where we are now. So it is a quick jump away from here. And I will turn it over to Mr. Bayer.
So what we're going to see in just a second is the analytical decision-making and efficient processes. So we mentioned the financial management, BS&A, asset management, document imaging, Ms. Wilson's going to describe is just about complete. It's really sort of transparent for you all, but so important to us. Financial reporting, the IAC, we're going to have Kenny go over, just going to be a little update and overview of that. And then our service level agreement with TSG, very, very important. So I want to hand it over to Ms. Wilson.
Good morning, everyone. Brittany Wilson, Director of Technology and Board Support Services. Yes, we have some very exciting updates this morning. Before I get into the BS&A, I did want to touch on the fact that in December, the Village Center Community Development District actually approved a service level agreement with Technology Solutions Group, who is our technology vendor. That agreement actually outlined an established monthly fee for specified services, but it also included a dedicated client site manager. So we actually have dedicated resources from TSG that focus solely on district initiatives. So actually the platforms that we'll be going through this morning, that individual is actually serving as our project manager to implement these platforms. It significantly improved the communication between the district and TSG, and also through this current budget preparation cycle, we have evaluated future technology needs, we have prioritized them, and how to move forward in the future with including them in the budget process. So there's been significant improvements on that front as well. So the first item we'll touch on is the BS&A financial management system. This system was approved by Village Center at their November meeting. The project has since been kicked off. So we kicked it off in the January timeframe. If you'll recall, we did provide an update to all of the numbered boards as well as the committees on the significant improvements that this program is going to bring, specifically to the financial elements with regard to the finance accounting division, budget, procurement, and then all of the end users as well. So this system will actually, it will eliminate those manual journal entries that the finance department is currently performing. It will automate that process. There's a significant amount of workflow that's built in. So we're moving towards a paperless environment, as well as an encumbrance system and a budget module. Those are all benefits that were previously outlined. Right now, BS&A has been on site, and they will continue to be on site throughout the balance of this year, actually mapping out internal processes from each of the departments involved. The estimated go-live date for this program is going to be in the first quarter of 2020. It will most likely be towards the end of the first quarter. There is a significant amount of training involved for staff members. So post-go-live training and the overall training for the project will extend most likely into July 2020. So we're very much looking forward to that, but we're really just starting to get into in-depth in that project moving forward. BS&A is actually the name of the company. Those are just the initials, yes. It's BS&A Incorporated, I believe is the name of the company. So we also previously provided an update on the document management system. One of our immediate concerns moving forward with these three platforms is the document management system that we were utilizing at the time, known as DocuSphere. It was on a server that was no longer receiving those necessary security updates. So we had to find a solution relatively quickly to move off of that platform to mitigate that risk. We're very excited to state that within the last 2 weeks, we have actually migrated off of DocuSphere. That has been taken off of our network. Working with TSG, they actually developed a web-based document management system. So this is actually what staff members see now when they go to retrieve, whether it be most likely financial related documents that have been, archived within the system. It's very user-friendly. You can see from the fields it's web-based, as I mentioned. We're no longer tied to user licenses. Everyone that is logged on to a district networked computer has the ability to go on and actually search for documents. So this platform will be utilized until the go-live date of BSNA. So the web-based document management system will house all historical documents and current documents until such time that we are ready to go live with the new BSNA financial management system. When that time comes, we will actually migrate to Laserfish document management system. And that program will actually provide the automated workflow. It's sort of the powerhouse in the back of all of our software platforms that provides that electronic routing of documents, electronic approvals, and then provides the necessary archival and indexing of that information. A very exciting CityWorks Asset Management Program. So we previously indicated that the asset management program is really being viewed as a multi-year, multi-phase process. We're looking at approximately 3 years to actually collect all of the data, build it into the system, and have all of our infrastructure and internal departments utilizing the program. So that first phase is a focus on utility infrastructure. We anticipate actually having a kickoff meeting later this month. We have numerous stakeholders involved with asset management. We have, of course, the district, Jacobs, who is the on-site. They actually manage the operations of our current water and wastewater utility systems. They are going to be our implementation partner for CityWorks. And CityWorks themselves, TSG, as well as Sumter County. Those are all going to be instrumental stakeholders in moving this project forward. Additional phases, once we collect that initial utility infrastructure data, we will move forward with residential district infrastructure, bill of roads, multimodal paths, and then moving into the amenities, all the recreational facilities, golf courses, pretty much everything that falls under the purview of all of the commercial and residential districts. So, as an example, district property management, we're going to use them today as a poster child. They continually review their internal processes. That's something that every department does on a continual basis. However, when going through the implementation program of a new software platform, it's important to actually document those processes. So property management has actually begun their process mapping to identify their internal processes and how that will be incorporated into the CityWorks program. So up on the screen, on the left-hand side, you can see what that DPM process mapping is looking like utilizing Visio. This is an example of a work order process. So from the time that the work order is established, how that will actually move through the system, what approvals are necessary. A lot of it ties to dollar thresholds as well. And then depending on the respective area, what type of infrastructure, who would be responsible for the necessary approvals. On the right-hand side of the screen, you actually see this is a snapshot of a CityWorks work order profile. So they're mapping all of this out. So when the time comes to actually begin the implementation process, it will be much smoother to be able to migrate it and actually customize how CityWorks is going to operate based on DPM practices. A significant component of the CityWorks Asset Management Program is the utilization of Geographic Information Systems, known as GIS. So you'll hear more about an interlocal agreement with Sumter County when Mr. Blocker gets up to speak. But one component of the interlocal agreement was GIS services provided by the county. And that not only applies to Sumter County, that applies to Marion, Lake, and all of the municipalities that are incorporated within the villages. They will be providing those services for us. We have had initial discussions with Sumter County to understand the data that they currently have available. They provide services to numerous constitutional officers, so they have a significant amount of data layers that the district could potentially utilize within the City Works program. We have provided them with data that we have as well. That data includes utility valve locations as well as meter locations, so they can understand how data has been collected so far and how to move forward with building that into a GIS layer. This is actually a sample GIS layer that Sumter County currently has available. It encompasses all of the stormwater structures throughout the villages. That's County Road 42 moving south. It's all mapped out within this GIS layer as an example of information that will be available to us. And I know it's hard to see up on the screen, but it actually encompasses end structures, manholes, inlets, and then actual gravity mains. That's going to be a significant benefit moving forward, and it prevents the district from duplication of services. Sumter County already has this data available. Through the interlocal agreement, we're going to be able to utilize that, which is a significant cost savings as well. So we have exciting things going on. And moving forward, we'll keep the board updated as we progress with all of these projects. And I'll turn it over to the Finance Director, Ms. Ann Hawkscroft.
Good morning, board audience. Ann Hawkscroft, Finance Director. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. I can honestly say and speak for the entire finance team that we're very excited about the prospects of being on BSNA and going live with them first quarter of next year, as well as this new document management system. I am here before you today to discuss an initiative that is underway currently to review all of the financial reports that we are publishing from the finance department. As we look at the finance team's role is to provide financial statements and financial information to the reader, as defined by the reader. We need to recognize the differences in the audience to know that we are providing the information that can associate to that particular audience, whether that audience be you, the board, the finance team, other team members, and the leadership of the district. We also need to be publishing accurate and timely information on a monthly basis. This compares to the board's fiscal responsibility to provide oversight to the financial operations of each of the districts. The financial statements belong to you, the readers. They don't belong to the finance team. And so as such, board reports that we provide to the board should be concise, easy to read, and in a format that's easily understandable for either a financial expert or a non-financial expert. The financial statements should describe for the board results in a big picture. They should include key elements that describe the successes of the district. Finance team will always be reviewing the financial information at a very micro level. The departments and teams will always be reviewing at a very detailed level for the teams. The financial statements for the board should be able to assist you all in understanding the financial results of the district as a whole. The monthly report should show fluctuations to budget and to prior year. As you know, we are required to be monitoring the fluctuations and making sure that we adhere to budget. It's equally important for us to understand any fluctuations or changes from year to year. We should also include information that shows that we are growing, what the growth is within the district. Change in cash balance, change in fund balance, and investment performance. So, Currently, we provide anywhere from 4 to 22 pages of very detailed reports to each of the boards. With this level of detail, and let me say that that is the same report that we provide to every audience, whether it's you or the leadership. With this level of detail, it sometimes can be hard to synthesize the results and understand the big picture of the financial results for the district. So it's our recommendation to modify the current monthly financial statements that we provide to the board to present two things. One, the statement of activity. Statement of activity is a report that describes the revenues, expenses, and other changes in fund balance, whether that be debt payments, capital purchases, or transfers to other funds. We will report this year-to-date. We will report the year-to-date results and compare this to budget and to prior year. We will roll up those key revenue items, key expense items, and key other changes that help us understand in an easily understandable way the financial results of the district. The second page will be a memo highlighting the results of the district for that year-to-date basis. Goal, again, is to provide the board members with an easy, understandable way to see the results of the district month over month. So for future considerations, as we finalize the strategic plan as a district, Finance will create an easily a way to track the results as they relate to financial activity for the district. Also, periodic reports that we will provide to trend the growth of the district, whether that be cash, change in fund balance, revenue growth year over year. So it's my goal to be presenting to each of you at your May or June meeting a draft of the new financial statements. Thank you very much.
Good morning. So a few things are going on, you think, right? Mr. Bear's been in charge for almost 9 months. We haven't been sitting back with our feet on our desk, as you can see. So he initially started off his presentation thanking the staff, and I too reiterate that the staff has been more forthcoming with their time and effort in trying to, put forth all these changes, all these great ideas. But I think we would be remiss if we did not thank the leadership of Mr. Bear as well. So we need to. So a few things that I want to talk to you today is about, the business model, the efficiencies, how we are basically spending our dollars wisely and becoming more efficient with those models, while not affecting the outcome or maybe enhancing the outcome, but at a more efficient level. So one of the things that is near and dear to my heart is our investment committee and our investment advisory committee and our investment portfolio that we have. We have a very unique opportunity here in the Villages in this government that we have such a well-diversified investment portfolio to include a long-term investment portfolio of equities. Most governments do not include equities in their portfolio. It's just not in their DNA to have that. Their funds are more short-term in nature, and they typically don't go out past a 1 to 3 type of aspect. So in that, we have a very unique opportunity that we can outperform, and our goal is always to outperform inflation, and I think we've been very successful in doing that. One of the things that we did this year is to look at our investment policy to see how can we enhance our investment policy, what more tools can we put in our toolbox to effectively try to gain more yield back to the districts and their investment portfolio and their investment holdings. So 2 things we did is we added 2 additional portfolios that we can invest our dollars in. One is the enhanced cash. So that was a little bit different. We didn't have anything on the curve that recognized any type of cash that we can invest in like a 12 to 18 month structure. So we did include an enhanced cash structure into our portfolio, as well as going out to a 1 to 5. So previously we had daily and we had 1 to 3. So now we have a daily fund, we have an enhanced cash fund, we have a 1 to 3 fund, and now we have the opportunity, if we want, when it's more strategic to do that, to go into a 1 to 5 opportunity. So we have it all covered on the yield curve from daily opportunities to a 1 to 5 opportunity. So that is a tool in our toolbox that we're going to be able to take advantage of. One of the things we did take advantage of was going into to a enhanced cash strategy. We had 2 1 to 3 funds that we had dollars in, and we presented to the investment advisory committee that we had an opportunity looking at the yield curve and the changes on the shorter end. We could take advantage of going into an enhanced cash and divesting ourselves of one of our 1 to 3 funds, while keeping one of them by divesting the other one and going into a shorter term and enhanced cash. And that has proved to be very positive on the returns, as we've seen in our reports to each and every one of y'all on a monthly basis and the investment advisory committee, that the enhanced cash strategy is working. We do have the 1 to 5. We have not taken advantage of that yet, but in time there will be an advantage and a strategic point in time to go into that. The other thing that we do annually is our annual cash flow analysis and looking at what type of cash do we have that we can have put out even further, 5, 10 years, that we would put into the long-term investment portfolio. We just went through that exercise. We reported back to each board as to the opportunities we see to put out even longer. So as we go forward, we're now going to look at the cash flow analysis on an annual basis at an even more granular level. So in other words, looking at each individual district, each fund, how can we take advantage of daily cash opportunities and going out even further and seeing what other extra dollars we have to put out into the investment portfolio. So we're not resting on the ideas that we have. We're going to enhance them and continue to increase the advantages that we can take opportunities on the investment portfolio. So one that we're very proud of. We continue to work it. We continue to manage it. And we're happy to report to you that I think we've made some significant changes, all while trying to beat inflation. Yes, ma'am.
Enhanced cash is not a term I'm really familiar with. They didn't teach that in accounting in 1492. Can you just explain?
So enhanced cash. So certainly, I'd love to. So enhanced cash is a fund that we use that is longer out on the yield curve than a daily opportunity or 60 days or less. It actually, you look at dollars that you will need for like 12 months. So you push that a little bit longer, you pick up a little bit of yield on the yield curve by investing a little bit longer. So typically the duration of that fund is going to be around 6 months is what we're looking at. And it balances out based on the opportunities that we have. So we had a 1 to 3 and a daily. We didn't have anything in between, so that's why we did that. Yes, ma'am. Great question. Thank you.
On that, maybe talk about the possibility of an inverted yield
Well, if we want to get into economics, we can have a long conversation about that. And what is that telling us? And where we're going? Is there going to be a recession? We probably don't want to talk about that. We got some bankers back here that could probably really talk about how that's going to affect us. But that for another day. So other things that we've been doing here is looking at our operational efficiencies. When we look at efficiencies, we look at opportunities to enhance the service that we provide at a cheaper, more efficient dollar rate, right? We want to make sure that we're operating with the dollars that we have the most efficiently way we can. We don't want to be essentially just taking dollars and just spending it without doing analytical reviews and doing that analysis to make sure we're spending each and every dollar the most efficient way we can and getting the biggest bang for our buck. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about in the interlocal agreement with Sumter County is we've entered into an agreement with them to do our fleet maintenance. And we'll go into it a little bit further, but essentially the county is going to be doing our maintenance of our fleet. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the next slide. Fleet procurement, we have another slide on that as well. We looked at our fleet and said, we have a fleet of about 150 vehicles, whether it be the white fleet essentially or the BPSD, the fire trucks. We said, how can we sit here and look at our fleet and make sure we have the best fleet we can, the safest fleet we can, the most efficient models that we can, all while expending those dollars in the most efficient way that we can. So we looked at a process of how we procure our current fleet, and it was kind of decentralized. So we wanted to bring it into a centralized model, all while using a method of a leasing program. So we entered into a partnership with Enterprise to effectively start leasing our fleet And you'll see in the next slide how it's being become more efficient and more efficient for the operations, and how we're actually saving dollars with a better vehicle. The other thing we're looking at, as Ms. Duckett alluded to, as far as using some additional spaces down south, co-locating. We're also co-locating PPM, Community Watch, the fire station, multiple services, sharing those services, sharing satellite offices that we can now afford those opportunities for residents in a different jurisdiction south of where we're currently at a more efficient model. They can make sure they take care of the residents when they come to those satellite offices. NSCUD, LSSA, and BCSA, the three utilities that we operate. We look at opportunities. Sometimes opportunities present themselves in different ways. In this case, we had an opportunity with two positions. They were vacant. That was in our operations of our utilities. We saw the opportunity to talk to our current consultant and to actually extend the opportunity for the current consultant to help us manage the operations of the utilities. We have been doing that now for approximately 4 to 5 months, and annually we're going to see a savings of approximately $100,000 while not reducing any type of service to the utility. So we saw that as an opportunity, and we took advantage of it, and that's what we look at. You know, a window may open, a window may close, but when that window opens, that's an opportunity we may be able to take advantage of it to become more efficient in our business and analytical modeling. The other thing we're going to talk about is the interlocal agreement with Sumter County, which is very near and dear to our heart. It took a long time getting there, but it's giving us the ability to become more efficient with our dollars. So I talked about our fleet procurement process. This slide may be a little bit busy for you, but you do have it in front of you. But essentially what we did is we looked at our fleet. We looked at how could we better utilize our dollars and have a more efficient fleet. So we looked at an equity type of model, that would say, when is it the best time to purchase a vehicle or lease a vehicle in this case, and when is it the best to return that vehicle for the biggest value that they have in the market. So we're looking at different items, trucks, big trucks, small trucks, hybrids, Community Watch, some hybrids, more fuel efficient, greener, so to speak. So we looked at the model. We put together what we think is a good model to effectively know what our budget dollar is going to be every year. It's not going to be just a random guess as to what we're going to purchase, not have a management plan in place. We're going to look at how can we purchase a vehicle, consistent budget dollars. We put together a plan that essentially is going to save us about $70,000 a year, having a newer fleet out there, safer fleet, and more efficient fleet. If you take that over 10 years, it's about a $700,000 budget savings. If you take in the current equity of our fleet, it's about a $1.3 million savings over 10 years, all while having a more efficient fleet, safer fleet, better fleet. So one that I think we're very happy to see it roll out, and we have the first 3 vehicles for customer service has 3 new vehicles, and they're starting to come in as we speak. We're actually getting them right off the line. Ford, Chevrolet, they're all coming off. So very, very happy about that one. The interlocal agreement we talked about with Sumter County. So we looked and worked very hard with Sumter County to say, how can we work together as a partner and gain some economies of scale? They do a lot of things, we do a lot of things, but they have a lot more resources available to do some things that we can take advantage of. Fire service. Chief Kane worked with us on this to help us put together an agreement with Sumter County to identify certain responsibilities, closest unit response, budgetary things, to make us more efficient in our non-duplicating of services where we were duplicating some things before. So we're becoming more efficient for the taxpayer. All of us are taxpayers. We want to become much more efficient. Stormwater, identify certain areas of the stormwater agreements, make sure that we're taking care of what we're supposed to take care of, the county's taking care of their means, but while we're doing it more efficiently, and we can help each other out, become a partner. The GIS system, Geographic Information Systems, Ms. Wilson talked to you about that. We're utilizing the county system because it's available. Why reinvent the wheel? And we save $300,000. Not too bad. Public safety radio system, just become an efficient use of the county system, going through them for procurement and the radios. So we're utilizing their systems they have in place. Why reinvent the wheel? Why cost us money? Utilize what they have. Fleet maintenance. So previously, we were spending about $500,000 in fleet maintenance. The county has a fleet maintenance system already built in. They have a shop. They weren't utilizing it. They asked us, "You want to utilize our fleet maintenance facility?" We said, "Sure, we're not going to pay you for it." They said, "Fine, save $500,000. What a great deal. So we have an issue with our fleet. Need an oil change, tire rotation, transmission, carburetor. We don't do carburetors anymore, do we? We take it right down here. Actually, I think they'll come pick it up and take it there, fix it, and bring it back to us. So it's a great, efficient use of the taxpayers' dollars for both Sumter County and ours. They had this shop. They're utilizing. They weren't getting the biggest bang for the buck, so we took advantage of that. So one of those things that we look at, how do we become more efficient with our dollars and deliver a better service to the resident? And with that, I'm proud to say that I'm going to introduce Mr. Chief Edmund Kane, and he can tell you about all of our fire services.
And by going to fleet maintenance, how much did you end up saving on that $500,000?
Well, that is a saving.
Oh, that is a saving.
Yeah.
That's the net. That's the net.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Edmund Kane. I'm the fire chief of Villages Fire Rescue, and we're going to go over a very short oversight or overview of the fire department, how we function, what we do to provide services within the villages. As Mr. Bear stated earlier, we cover approximately 70 square miles of villages. That includes the cities of Lady Lake, the lake section within Lady Lake, Freeman Park, and in addition to the city of Wildwood, and also Lake County, Marion County, Sumter counties where the villages expands into. We are approximately right now, our goal is 70% firefighter paramedics, 30% EMT firefighters. Right now, we're just a tad over 50% paramedics within the department. Actually, with the class that we're hiring today, there's several paramedics in that. I have over 10 paramedics that are in school right now as EMTs, so we're slowly getting away with increasing that number as we grow bigger. Now, as you notice in the chart, we are divided into 3 different shifts. There's 40 personnel per shift. There are 2 battalion chiefs on those same shifts. They oversee the day-to-day operations of those crews. There's one in the north, there's one in the south. We work a 24-hour shift, and we are off 48 hours. You'll also notice, as I stated a minute ago, that there are 40 personnel on the shift, and you're probably going, what am I doing with all those people, and what do they do all day? They are divided up between 5 different engines that service the villages, 3 aerial devices, and 6 rescue units that are non-transport. Every one of those units are licensed within the state of Florida to provide advanced life support care to the patients. This way we utilize the engines not only for fire events, auto accidents, but we can respond them to medical emergencies as they are probably closer depending on where the call is located throughout the district. So how busy are we? First of all, when you look at these statistical information, they are done in financial year. So for 2017, we ran over 20,000 calls within the villages. Next year, 2018, 22,000 plus calls. And year to date, so far this year, we're at over 12,000 incidences throughout the villages. As we talked a moment ago about paramedic services, you'll notice right off the bat that our biggest percentages of medical calls are our largest percentage of calls, over 57% throughout the department. We have 35% service calls. Those are partly smoke detectors that we go out and change for the residents at no charge. That also includes fishing out kittens out of storm drains, drones out of trees. We go out and do that. Good intent calls, that's basically if somebody has fallen and cannot get up, we go out and pick them up, check them out. If they don't want to go to the hospital, that's fine. We are approximately 1% fire-related calls throughout the district. And as the year increases, obviously our call volume will increase towards the end of the cycle. This map here shows the boundaries of the villages. You will see we have marked the 9 stations in the system right now. I will tell you that each station is located approximately 2-mile radiuses from the other stations. This provides us a rapid response time, which we'll talk about in a few moments. In addition, in the purple, you can see the stations that surround the villages. I will tell you we have a very good working relationship with Sumter County, Marion County, Lake County. We provide automatic aid to all of those departments. Sumter County, in the last 4 months, we have started auto aid. Actually, the computerized dispatch system looks for the call location, and then it looks for the closest apparatus for that particular emergency. So if we happen to be right down the street on a call, if, for example, 44 and 301, it will show us as the closest unit, even though that call is in Wildwood, and we will be there in a few moments, as opposed to the Sumter truck that may have a 4 or 5 minute response time from their area. They do the same for us. If they're closer, they will take the call within the villages. So we're utilizing those departments. And as I said earlier, we have mutual aid agreements that we go into the other counties. It's nothing uncommon to see a villages unit over at the Best Buy Square assisting Lake County on either a medical call or a structure fire. So how do we measure our level of service within the department? The reaction time is measured from the time the tones go off from the station until the unit starts leaving the station. NFPA standards, which we abide by, says we have 60 seconds to do that night or day. Right now, we're averaging 53 seconds. In addition, average response time, that is the time that's measured from the truck to the time the unit leaves the station, so it will rise on the location of the incident. We're averaging 4.25 minutes throughout the district. NFPA standards for medical calls are 4 minutes. So as the call volume increases, that will decrease throughout the year also. So our goals for 2018, and we've been working very progressive with this. For every engine, aerial device, there are 3 personnel added to the truck. That's their assignment when they leave the station. We're in the process within the very near future of opening Station 47, which Dr. talked about, which is just south of here on Morris Boulevard. That will have 1 engine in that station with 3 personnel on it for the time. Station 40, we're in the process of expanding that station to take an aerial unit due to NFPA requirements. The amount of 3-story plus buildings in that area, we need to have an aerial unit that can respond within a 2.5-mile radius of those 3-story buildings. We have done a complete renovation on Station 43 in the last year. In the very near future, we'll be placing a rescue into service down the street of Station 44. Increase of AED programs, we're over 200 programs at this point. It's growing every day. Here's the very interesting part. Between our rapid response with paramedics, the AED programs, the current survival rate of cardiac arrest in the villages is over 40%. Does anybody have any idea what it is nationwide? 10% in the United States. So we're beating the odds with those 2 applicants. Our goals coming up for 2020, we are modifying our inspection prevention division right now. We are going to start taking some of the inspections that they do each day and we ran down to the line staff, which provides 2 resources. It gets the staff into the commercial properties to look at them and to do the pre-fire plans. And it allows us to use the prevention department to do larger complexes like commercial properties where we have life safety issues and we need to protect the public. We are also working on the Commission of Fire Accreditation. We will be going in front of that board in August of 2020. And we are also working on ISO, which is the insurance rating, and this is how your insurance is based. Many years back, they came into evaluation on which we were at a 4. After that evaluation, we dropped to a 2. And with hopes within the next year, we'll drop to a 1. And just to give you an idea, the ISO rating goes from 1 to 10. 10 is basically an F, or 1 is an A+. So that's what our goal was for this year. And in addition, we will be working to maintain a 5-minute or less response time 90% of the time throughout the district for all emergencies. So I will turn it over to Chief Wolf next.
Chief Nehemiah Wolf, Community Watch. I have to tell you, I am excited today to be here and have an opportunity to share with you some numbers in reference to Community Watch and just how busy we really are there. First off, I'd like to say that Community Watch is made up of many of village residents. That's the majority of my staff. They are very dedicated and they're very well trained. And they protect the villages by helping keeping a watch wire around the clock 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and of course 365 days a year. The communication division operates 24 hours a day, and that is a huge access for the village resident. It provides a constant connection to the district, as well as providing support for the patrolmen that are out there. Gate operations personnel are there. They're there and they're monitoring the hundreds of cameras that we have throughout the villages. Along with those duties, they also monitor for gate strikes. They provide calls through our adult watch program, and they provide documentation for any incidents that's happening on district property that's observed by them. My gate attendants staff 23 staff gates. That's a huge operation. That's 60 people a day. That's covering 24 hours a day, all of those gate houses. My patrol division, of course, patrol drivers patrol all of our neighborhoods. It is our goal, our objective to hit every neighborhood at least 2 times a day within a 24-hour period. And that also adds a level of security to our neighborhoods. Some of the things that we've done recently at Community Watch is we have implemented a new data reporting program called ER that increases our efficiency and allows us to monitor all of our documentation more effectively. Our dispatchers went to a 12-hour shift. That reduced for us the number of call-outs. Our dispatchers can actually plan things in advance, doctor's appointments, things like that, and it provides for a more efficient operation. We have 13 patrol zones, Feeney being in the addition. They are covered 24 hours a day, of course, 7 days a week. In addition to that, there's also 2 supervisors, so there's someone constantly. Patrolling is a very important part of Community Watch. I can tell you that law enforcement is very appreciative. Can you imagine if they was tasked with having to do all of that patrolling that we actually provide? It would be very, very difficult and very costly. Community Watch patrol drivers patrolled over 1.1 million miles last year. That was awesome. That's huge. From someone who is former law enforcement, you have no idea the value of that. Even though Community Watch is not law enforcement, we have no enforcement authority, we have no arrest powers, but we do provide a deterrent to crime. The bad guys know that Community Watch, along with law enforcement, is in place. Telephone, radios, eyes, ears, to alert the law enforcement when needed. It is a big, big plus for the business. Community Watch handled over 285,000 incidents that came into our CAD system, communication system, last year. That is huge. Those are documented phone calls from residents, visitors throughout the villages during the year. That number kind of is broken down, and it shows residents, assistance. Again, that is very, very huge. The assisting residents, the thing that you have to remember is that we're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even during Hurricane Irma a year or two ago, we didn't close. We handled over 1,500 calls that came in. Anytime there's a holiday or weekends, all of those calls, customer service calls, probably all of those are handled by Community Watch. Assisting other district departments is very, very huge. Again, customer service calls, after hours, weekends, those calls come through Community Watch Dispatch, DPM, anything that a resident needs. It allows them to have a continuous connection to the district by being there. Adult Watch, 18,000, that's huge. People living alone, needing to or wanting to have a connection with a human on the other end of a phone line. We provide that to them. It brings peace of mind to family members who live out of state for those residents, knowing that they're part of the program, and the criteria is there is no criteria, 24 hours a day. During Hurricane Irma, I can recall a phone call being made 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because that is the time the residents wanted somebody checking on them. Very, very huge value in that. And all the other numbers, of course, patrol zones, 81 neighborhoods that was patrolled, 93,000 times within a year. That is huge, again, huge deterrent. And it adds another level of security and protection for our residents. Animal-related complaints, of course, work orders is huge. 24 hours a day, you can report something that is broken or that is deficient. Work order goes in, and it allows us to make those repairs in a timely manner. Utility problems, again, and then house checks is another thing. Mr. Bear, you guys make me nervous. I know each and every one of you, but you make me nervous for some
Okay, so there's a lot going on, no doubt. Just wanted to kind of look forward just a little bit at what we'll be looking at this coming year. This is just sort of a broad overview. The first is we're going to bring forward. The first is we're going to be bringing here. Who am I? The first is bring forward a new set of contracts, really with an elevated sort of approach to the housekeeping and maintenance with regard to all the postal, recreation, neighborhood facilities. We heard from the Community Development District Board of Supervisors, from our customers, that we were looking for a little bit more insofar as maintenance and housekeeping. So you're going to see those come forward. They're going to go out for bid more in the summertime time frame, and we'll bring those forward and we'll discuss what those changes are. I know that many of you have already heard the update from Mr. Wharton via your CDD meetings as well as at PWAC and AAC meetings. Recruitment and retention. When we talk about resources, we're also looking inward at staff resources. It's very important that we have a pay, compensation, and benefits package that can attract and retain the talent that you need, that we need to run this municipal corporation, if you will. So we are looking at our total pay and compensation package. And more so, we're even looking toward what those other benefits of other jurisdictions are. So making sure that we can compete as everyone is going after the brightest and the best resources. So you're going to hear a lot more of that really in the summer with all the budget. Purchasing practices, we mentioned that Mr. LaRocque will bring forward a whole new purchasing manual. And that purchasing manual is going to have a lot of changes in it. We're excited about that. It's going to enable us to have additional flexibility in making sure we can address what your needs are and acquiring those services and goods. It's going to make sure that we have a little bit more centralization of some of those services. And when we look at procurement, you're going to see in the coming year that we are going to go, just like with our fleet policy, from a decentralized model where several people are ordering the goods and services to more of a centralized model. Making sure that we not only have the purchase power we need across all of the departments, but also better accounting and monitoring of what's being expended insofar as those goods that we are purchasing. I'm not as a manager of a government entity not used to the decentralized sort of model that we have here for all the different services. So that'll be a continuing theme that you will hear coming from a much more urbanized area where we're looking for economy of scale, as we should be here too. Environmental initiatives. I really am in many ways heartened and in some ways disheartened by some of our practices insofar as the environment. So we've taken on some recent environmental initiatives looking at our consumption of some of the petroleum-based, styrofoam-based products and goods that we purchase as a district, whether it be in this recreation center or it be at the district administration offices and all the satellite facilities. So we're looking at that. We're also, as you know, replacing all of the incandescent and UV fixtures nearly completed in all the postal neighborhood recreation facilities. All the new facilities coming on, like the Station 47 just south of here. And what I'd say is as you actually leave, if you want to go down and just kind of, we're only talking about it's 1,000 feet south of here, and the station is about 85% completed. The doors are just about up and complete on the bays, the roll doors, so it's really well worth the drive by. But you're going to see a lot of changes. That facility and others will have LED. You'll begin noticing that in the design of our facilities. There's a little different design with regard to more attention paid to the United States Green Building Council, their initiatives as far as LEED and Green Globe, looking at things like window overhang, darker shadings on windows, advanced HEPA filtration systems, things like that. So really looking at our practices coming through construction as well as our consumptive practices. One of the things that I would ask is we tend to get stuck on this environmental discussion group that I had, which was really excellent. I went to last week in Bridgeport. There were a lot of people who kind of got fixated on recycling. Let me just touch on that for a second. When you look at the cascade of really environmental initiatives, you really have reduce, reuse, recycling. Recycling is really the third cascade down. What you really want to do is you want to look at, can you reduce what you consume? Do you need that shrink wrap plastic product? Do you need to buy that? If you buy it, can you reuse it in some way yourself? Can you use that petroleum product? Because you know if it goes to a landfill, it's going to sit there for 1,000 years. And then it's really recycling it. So it's really the lowest tier. When you're at the recycling level, you've already mined that sort of that earth resource. You've already transported it. You've already gone through that whole sort of series of, when you look at greenhouse gases and whatnot. So it's very important that you kind of understand that. As we're looking at the next year, we'll be focusing on a solid waste management planning strategy, looking at how District 12 and how the other districts are consuming the recyclables or not, and how the MRF facilities and the global economy are really accepting those recyclables. I think many of you will be surprised that about 50% of our tonnage of recyclables require an additional support, dollar-wise, to be taken by the MRF facilities. China is no longer saying, send us your recyclables. The market is not. It's really cardboard. Cardboard is the big recyclable. When you look at a lot of the other waste streams, not so much. So it's really important for us to kind of make sure that we are ever self-sustaining, that we actually have a good solid waste management plan. And part of that is recycling. Not speaking bad about it, but I like people say we need recycling bin. That's all true. But the bigger picture has recycling as a part of it, but not the do end all. So it's important to kind of look at that. We've also talked about the right size of the fleet vehicles. We'll continue putting that out insofar as what our other initiatives are with the environment. Customer service delivery model. We are making some changes. You heard about the satellite office. We settled on a name, not annex, not satellite office. So the satellite office, we are going to be co-locating. Again, part of an environmental initiative is you don't disturb the resource, the natural land, if you don't have to. Try to co-locate things. So you've got, as Mr. Blocker and Ms. Duckett mentioned, you've got Station 47 right down the road. Co-located with it, already disturbed soil, already have utilities there. We're going to have customer service. We're going to have DPM. We're going to have Community Watch. We're going to have a small utilities area for utilities. So that's all co-located. Also, we're going to get into less of a need for people of staff to have to travel to centralized muster meetings. So we're getting into video conferencing. We're getting into getting a lot of electronic technology out to all the gates and these satellite facilities. Because right now, the muster meeting for the A and B groups, or the red and blue groups, they've actually got to come into Community Watch, and you've got hundreds of people driving their cars. Would like to think that they would carpool, but how many of us carpool today? So I won't ask you to put up your hands, but just keep that to yourself and think about that. So our customer service delivery model is something very important to us. As we travel further as a district, as boundary-wise, south and southeast, you will see that it's more important for us than ever to make sure we have these co-located satellite facilities. We can't afford to have 30 DPM people driving 40 minutes back and forth from Sumter Landing, where they muster, down to District 12 and District 13 and District 14. That's not a model that is sustainable. Environmentally, cost efficiency-wise, just not sustainable. So there's a lot of things that are going to be coming up this year. So just a couple things, I'd be remiss. I look to you all, each and every one of you, to help us get out the word on e-notification, e-billing, Resident Academy. We've gone over it at all your meetings. Some of you have handed out hundreds of brochures, some tens, some nones. So I would like to think that each of you would avail yourselves to having your resident population understanding how they can be connected. 7,500 residents on e-notification. That's about where we are, 7,500 about. So out of 65,000 rooftops, or roughly we talked about 125 to 130,000 residents. It's an increase over 2 years ago, but it's not where we want to be. So, and if you want to see the new Resident Academy, I would urge you, if you haven't been through it for 8, 10, 12, 4 years, it's very different. 2 5-hour days into 1 4.5-hour day. I'll make maybe 1 5-hour day. I know, so I was being optimistic there. And then, you're leaving with the same information, but you're interacting after the presentation with all the senior staff as need be. You have your issues individually addressed. Very important. Used to be that you would talk to Cliff, and during the meeting, Cliff would have a question, for example, and Cliff's question would be about his home site and behind the drainage problem. And the whole room got to go on to a trip of Cliff's backyard and how his drainage was. And for 20 minutes, we're not doing that. What we're doing is delivering the information and being able to spend time with Cliff after the meeting, senior staff, being able to interact and solve his problem. No, that's just an example. Cliff doesn't have a drainage problem. With that, I would like to say thank you, and I hope that this was beneficial to you. It's extremely beneficial to us on 2 levels. One, sharing the information with you all, and number 2, getting our sort of thoughts together as your senior team. These sort of exercises benefit us as well because it forces us to get all this gray matter thought into kind of a format, not only present to you all, but to repurpose to our resident groups. So thank you for coming and thank you for your time.